In this particular video, we'll focus on messaging solution services, especially like storage queues, service bus queues, and service bus topics. Let's focus on the storage queue first. Azure Storage Queue is a service for storing large number of messages. Normally, when you want a cost-effective way to store messages and then use it within the application, then Azure Storage Queue is going to be the perfect choice. This data and messages will be accessed authenticatedly calls using HTTP or HTTPS. The size of the message can be maximum up to 64 KB in size. If you want bigger than this, then you should go for a service bus queue. This may contain millions of messages up to the total capacity of limit of a storage account. And actually there is no total capacity of the storage account which is fixed, so you can store as much as you want actually. Most of the time the messages are going to have tasks to do kind of thing, which will be going and sending into the message queue. Inside the queue, it is going to be mostly stored by the FIFO processing, first in, first out. But yeah, if you go for asynchronous processing of that, we can also pick multiple messages simultaneously. The best example of this kind of messaging is customer placing orders online, and these messages of the orders are going to be added into the queues, and then it's going to be processed further later on, maybe by using some kind of a background job task. Now let's focus on the design for service bus queues and topics. In service bus, we have a bigger size of the message. That is the first advantage, because of which people choose service bus. Also, the bandwidth of the service bus is going to be extremely high compared to normal messaging services. Now, service bus decouples the application and services from each other. And that's one of the reasons it is going to be a perfect choice if you are implementing an application which is based on microservice kind of architectures. We have two segregations here, service bus queues and service bus topics. If you have this kind of scenario that you have one sender, one receiver, and in between communication of those two objects, you need to have a queue. Then this is something which is done by service bus queues. This is a broker message communication model which is easily followed by service bus here, where you have a message queue which is playing like a broker in between. Sender is going to send the message. The messages will be stored inside this queue for a longer period of time. There is a configuration inside service bus queue which is known as TTL, time to leave. And then that defines actually that how long the messages will stay inside the service bus queue. Suppose if the receiver is available, is going to pick the message, and on the successful processing of the message, it will be deleted. On the other side, we have service bus topics which works on pub-sub mechanism, and then something like service bus queue, but in this case, the topics are actually going to have multiple receivers. If you have a sender, which I normally call publisher actually, if you have a sender application which will send a message, then automatically that message is going to be duplicated multiple times. Depends upon how many receivers, or I can say subscribers, are going to be there. Topics are going to have multiple receivers at the other end, and depends upon the number of receivers, depends upon the number of subscribers, we will have multiplication of that particular message which will happen. So you are sending only one message from this side, but maybe it is going to have a duplication in between the topics, and then it will be received by each and every receiver. And each and every receiver is going to process that message accordingly. This major difference is something which you have to keep in mind while going for a service bus queues or going for a service bus topics. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce skilltech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in skilltech.club. So you will be a part of the skilltech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. Now if I compare these three messaging solutions, then obviously the SLA is something which is playing very important role, and that's the reason we have one separate column for that. The SLA is very based on the storage tier actually in storage queues, because ultimately these queues are not available separately. It's a part of the storage account. While you go for a service bus, it is giving you 99.9% availability for the service level agreement in that. As we message, the queue storage can be implemented with FIFO kind of processing. or it may not be also if you're doing asynchronous processing. The queue, which should be maximum size of that queue, is going to be 80 GB. So to exceed 80 GB in size is the bigger upper limit for that one. And the storage account is not having any fixed size. And if you want more than 80 GB, then you have to create a new queue inside the storage account. And this is mostly useful to track the process of processing a message inside the queue. Now, when you go for a service bus queues, the service bus queues are guarantee giving you a first in, first out kind of mechanism, which is always going to be there. At least once a message is processing, or most once messages are going to be processing. So these are the two different modes which we have to select inside that. We have a logs also available in the service bus. We have a facility of partitioning, which are making the service bus queue special compared to normal storage queue. You can also group the operations into your transactions, and you can receive the messages without polling the queue. These are all advantages you have to keep in mind when you compare queue storage and service bus queue storage. Now, let me tell you, in most organizations, service bus queue is always going to be the preferred choice compared to the storage account queues nowadays. If I go to the last one, which is service bus topics, as we discussed, this is going to be required only if you have multiple receivers to handle each message. And you want to make sure that delivery has to be done at the multiple destinations for a single message which is published by the sender application.